So Laz, what's up, my man?
Roland Martin, man. It's good to be here, brother.
Absolutely, looking good. Got your Muhammad Ali shirt on.
Yeah, I decided to bring the guns out.
Showing your guns.
Bring the guns out to the gun show, How you been, man?
Man, good.
Yeah?
Good.
You looking healthy? You looking rested?
Hey, man, just out here trying to give folks a little hell.
That's what I'm talking about.
Trying to let them know how we roll with Black-owned media.
That's it. I watch you constantly on YouTube. Don't matter what country I'm in. I watch the Roland Martin live. You kept me up to speed. Actually, I was in Canada pretty much 9 months out of 2021. So we finally were able to go back to film season 3 of The Boys. And really, that was what kept me enlightened of what's going on. I pretty much stopped. I broke my news addiction.
Got it.
That I had for the last 4 years because I did realize that there was a certain sense of anxiety that kept me watching news from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to sleep. Never happened to me before. And I have unplugged a little bit and been able to focus again on things that I love to do, read more books that I like to read.
Yep.
But there's certain places that I do go to keep me current, and yours is one of them.
I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
And see, that whole thing was, because people don't realize, I don't watch.
Right.
I don't watch the cable networks.
Right.
Because one, they're repeating the exact same thing.
Yes.
And you didn't have the variety of topics. You don't have really going in depth. You have the 6, 7, 8 minute segments. So people ask me all the time. They talk about. They say, when you did Roland Martin Unfiltered, dude, you'll go 45 minutes to an hour. I'm like, yeah. Because one, I'm not asking somebody. First of all, no one else is in my ear.
Right.
Saying we got to move on.
Right.
Because it's mine.
Right.
And if they are, I'll just pull it out.
Right.
And I said, because for me, the way I roll is, and I think back when I went to CNN, we sat down and they asked me, and they said, what kind of show you want to do? And literally, so this is 2000 and I joined them. So this is 2007. I said, it's going to be a scripted, unscripted show. I said, you let it flow.
Right.
I said, the script is a guide.
Yeah.
Sure, we're going to have these elements. I said, but if that conversation is fire, I'm going to keep that to tomorrow.
Let's go. Yeah.
Like, I hate the phrase, sorry, we got to leave it there.
Right.
No, actually, we don't.
Right.
You don't have to run that package. You don't have to go to that next story. So my whole deal always is, now if I have a guest, that's a different deal, but it's like in the middle of the show, this is my TV One show, all my shows, I'm actually back timing in the middle of the show. Like, we're sitting here, we're talking, and I'm sitting there going, okay, I know we got 3 commercial breaks, so I'm gonna let this thing go 12 more minutes.
Right.
I'm gonna cut this on the 5th segment, the 4th segment, I'm gonna kill that package in the 3rd segment while we're in the middle of the show.
Right.
Because for me, when that red light comes on and it's go time, you have to be in the moment and you be thinking, like, for the audience, what makes this interesting?
Right.
And that's why I can't watch most of those shows, because they're so stuck in the formula. And it's just not interesting. And I can't watch.
Yeah, no, I also love that you bring on controversial people or people that you are going to go head to head with. And
I ain't scared.
No, and I enjoy that. I love seeing people come on your show and actually have a joust, an intellectual battle between you two, and may the best man win. And
see, it's like boxing.
Yeah.
It's boxing for me is like every time I interview a singer or a comic, I'll ask them, and this was before Versus, I'll ask them, who would you love to go on stage with in front of an audience in this microphone? Who would you love to battle? Who would you love to challenge? Who do you think brings the best out in you? Who absolutely raises your game? I guess in acting, when Pacino and De Niro were in Heat.
Right.
But they were actually in scenes together.
Yeah.
Now, granted, that's a little different because how movies are shot.
Sure, it's scripted.
And it's
so there's a scripted winner.
Right.
Right.
But the dynamic still being being on screen. And so I love asking people that, because it's somebody who does that, who said, yeah, no, I wanna take this cat on.
I want this one.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't see anything wrong with it. And it's the same thing for me when it comes to television debate. I'm like, yo, that's why I'm always like, okay, who ready to roll?
Yeah, it is competitive to a certain degree.
Oh yeah.
And debates are, and I feel like we're in such a hyper polarized state right now when it comes to pick a side.
Right.
And if you pick a side, what does that actually mean? Well, what it's starting to mean, or at least where it is now, is you have to pick everything on that side,
right.
whether you agree with it or not. And
right.
I'm not built like that.
And that's the problem.
Yeah, I can't agree with everything.
Right. For me, I'm like, defend your shit. That's
right.
my whole deal.
That's
like,
it.
What's the issue?
Right.
And if we go at it, let's go.
Right.
But yeah, like I never self-identify as a Democrat or Republican.
Right.
I don't call myself an independent. I say, no, I'm just a voter.
Right.
I look at the issue. And if we go at it on
right.
the issue, like we might be real cool,
100%.
but on this one, we disagree.
Yep.
And I'm like, let's go.
Right.
Now, we cool after.
Right.
I ain't got nothing against you.
Right.
I ain't pissed.
Right.
I'm not like, man, the hell with them.
Didn't you have not Stephen Miller? What was the alt-right dude? Didn't you go?
Richard Spencer.
You had Richard Spencer on,
So
didn't
when
you?
he came on, same thing. That was a trip. That was on my TV One show.
Man, that was great, man.
And let me
that
tell
was
you
a good one.
And let me tell you what happened with that. So I walk in, and I had who was I listening to?
James Brown, probably.
No, I was listening. No, I was listening to. Do you remember the scene from Malcolm X when they walked from the police station to the
Oh
hospital?
yeah, of course.
Yeah. Dum 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 dum.
Yeah.
The Terrence Blanchard score.
Yeah.
So that was like that's a straight up hype song.
Right. You were ready. You was
Like anytime when I was working,
right. You coming out the tunnel with that song.
right. And I would go meet
Right.
meet my white bosses. I'll put that on. I'm like,
man.
I'm just letting y'all know. So when I walked in, he was in the green room. Normally I speak to the guests. I ain't speak to him.
Nothing.
It's like
Right.
I ain't talking.
Right.
They brought me out to the set because I had my speaker with me. So I walked out, listened to Big Payback, the one from Django Unchained, with James Brown and Tupac.
Yes, sir.
I walk into the studio, straight up.
Right.
Straight up.
With theme music.
Dog, straight up, walking with a speaker. Sit that shit down on the table. Audio comes over. He's sitting right there. I ain't said nothing. Mic me up.
All you needed was an announcer. And in this corner.
Put my earpiece in. I was like, y'all ready?
Right.
We about to go live. Right. I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, we about to go live. That's all I said.
Right.
When that shit hit,
it was on.
That's the deal. I don't even.
Bro, I felt it. Watching it, I felt the tension.
And see, everybody thought I was gonna go off. See, this is what I tried to explain to people. It's the art of the debate. See, so you might think, oh, he about to come in hot.
Right.
So I'm gonna come in hot. So I come in cool. Mm-hmm. So my deal was, folks was like, oh man, white supremacists. I was like, nah, we good.
Right.
I said, no, I won't. I said, I ain't gonna be hot. I said, I'm about to wear his ass out.
Right.
Now,
body blows, all body blows. No head blows.
That's it.
You want them to feel it.
And so it's like, I got a bunch of black people like, yeah, when that man asks you, who are you? You should say you a black man. I was like, no, because you dumbasses don't know how to debate.
Right.
He wanted me to say I'm black. But first of all, I don't need to say I'm a black man, I am.
Right.
But what messed his ass up was when I said, I'm a man. I'm a Christian man.
Right.
So
you disarmed
again,
him.
Boom.
Yeah.
So I got ignorant fools out there. Man, you couldn't even admit it. I said, because y'all don't know how to debate.
Right.
I said, I completely threw him off. And the look in his eye was like, shit, where did I go
Right.
now? He just messed me up with that one.
Right.
And I said, so now he off kilter.
Yep.
I said, so now I got his.
Now any attempt he tries to take that away from you, now he's dehumanizing you.
See?
And now you got him.
And that's the thing that cats don't understand.
Right.
They don't understand. And so it's funny, again, I tell people, I was just watching the documentary, one documentary was on Muhammad Ali, and the brilliance of the tactician on how he picked apart.
Right.
You pick apart your opponent depending upon who your opponent is. You don't, somebody asked me, they said, if there were 10 fights, who would win, Ali or Tyson? I said, Ali would win 9 out of 10. They were like, what? I said, because he would completely pick Mike Tyson apart.
Mike Tyson apart. Yep. His head. He'd get in his head.
Tyson
before the fight.
Tyson had one style.
Yep.
I said, Ali had multiple styles. I
Yep.
said, and that's the piece.
Yep.
When you're able to go into that battle and they think you hot. I did Phil Donahue show.
And Ali had a chin on him.
Yes.
He could take a hit.
But he also threw a punch. People
Yep.
underestimate the power of Ali.
Of Ali, yep.
And that was the thing, man. And so I was sitting here. It's like when I did Donahue. It was on MSNBC. The week was called Angry White Man. So we're in the green room. I ain't saying nothing to nobody. I was like, no. No, I speak to everybody.
Right.
Hey, what's up? Nothing. Chilling. They all talking. Nothing. I'm going to watch TV, drinking. Producer comes in, so she's talking to everybody. So then she pulls you aside, each individual person. She's like, okay, this is live TV. She's like trying to explain to you, we need energy. So I'm just walking back and forth. I'm going,
Thank you.
I'm just walking back and forth. I go,
I've done this once or twice. Thank you.
I go,
Right.
okay. Now she's getting worried. I said, baby, we're fine.
Yep. You know what I want to know? I want to know the Chris Christie one.
Same thing.
How was that in the beginning? Because
Same thing.
you came in hot on that one. You came in
No,
hot.
no,
You ripped him, bro.
No, actually, okay, so
You
okay.
tore his tie off,
No,
his
no,
shirt off, his jacket.
No, but
he was a mess when you got done
No,
with
but
him.
I didn't come in hot. Okay, so let me see again, though. So here's what happened. They actually had us in the same dressing room. I didn't want to be in there.
Right.
See, I don't want any conversation.
Right.
Because I know.
Trying to soften you up before we get on set. Right.
I know what I'm about to do.
You knew what you was about to do. Right.
I knew what I was about to do.
It's hilarious, bro.
So people were tweeting us, and I was like, no, people like, this is horrible. Y'all should have, because they would, but when they sent the tweet out about who's going to be on.
Right.
I was like, y'all make a judgment, you haven't seen the show. I said, just watch the show.
Right.
Just watch the show. And so Christie goes, oh, he says, Roland, you got to let other people talk on Twitter. I said, no, I'm fine. I said, I'll respond to everybody. It's all good. And so I'm standing. So he's in the dressing room. So they had two of us in one room, two of us in the other because of COVID. Normally we're all in one room, and I'm standing in the hallway. I'm not trying to be in the space.
Right.
I don't want there to be any conversation.
Right.
Again, it's a mental thing, and in terms of how you prepare. And others, I'm all good. But I was like, no. I don't want none of that.
Right.
So I go to makeup, and I'm standing in the hallway. I'm avoiding a conversation because I want what out there to be is authentic.
Right.
So we go to the set. And so Yvette, the sister, she asked, so we had a first segment, then George said, well, we're going to talk about this. And Yvette goes, y'all really going to bring up his speech? And he said, yeah. She's like, okay. It was her way of saying, like, it's about to be some shit.
Right.
She said, I'm going to disagree with it. I ain't saying nothing. I want them to bring the speech up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, you're like, yes.
I'm praying.
Right.
But I ain't showing
You can't show your cards.
Showing no cards.
Right.
Chilling. I'm like, this is me over there. Please bring that speech up.
Right.
Please bring that speech
Bruh.
up.
Yeah.
I was like,
that's just handing it to you on a platter.
No, I'm chilling. And so, getting to the segment, they ask the question. You know, they go to Sarah, they go to Yvette and Christie. But see, you can't be too early.
Right.
See, when you're too eager, cats jump. See, people don't understand it's an art. It's
Right.
a science.
You gotta
It's the
pace
same-
it. Pace
right.
it.
So
Right.
like you wait for the moment. And so then and then George said, well, let's talk about that. And I was like, here we go. And then he laid the question out. And then Christie answers. I don't say nothing. I ain't interrupting.
You let him go.
I'm like,
Dig your own grave.
go ahead. Keep going. Just me, I'm watching. Then Yvette responds, and she responds, and I'm like, okay. Then he moves to Sarah. Then she responds. Then he hit the question at me.
Game over.
And that's when I say, with all due respect, Governor. That was the tone. See, it was the slow, methodical, I'm about to gut your ass.
And eye contact. You didn't break. You gave it to him.
And then it was
You locked in.
It was the hand.
Right.
All of that. Because again, you're understanding cameras.
Right.
You're understanding angles. You're
Right.
understanding that camera's on me. And so the whole, right. So I am conveying with my body language, with my tone, I'm about to wear your ass out.
Well, I'll tell you.
You are going to have to own up to what you did. Then I went, because the other chick, she worked for the Department of Justice. I said, Governor, I said, you too, Sarah. But see, she wasn't going to go viral.
Right.
She wasn't no major player.
Right.
I knew.
Right. He was gone.
And that's when, and look on his face, and that's why, many people get interrupted. I said, no, allow me to finish.
Right.
Allow me to finish. And everybody interrupted me. I was going, okay, y'all go ahead.
What I loved about it was you said what everybody that was watching it wanted to say and could.
Right. But see, what happens on those shows is that system is, we all buddy inside. No.
Right.
The reason most of these shows don't call me was the reason people love me, because people, for 6 years on CNN, they said, dude, you say what I think. You say what we're saying at home.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm like, that's why I'm there.
Right.
Why the hell am I?
Well, we're yelling at the TV.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what you said.
So cats be like, dog, you said exactly what I'm like.
Yep.
But that's why my audience has always stayed with me.
Right.
Because they're like, you ain't afraid to say it.
Right.
In any platform. And that's the problem. And here was the deal. George Stephanopoulos, great respect. We get along well. George likes me on the show.
Sure.
I hadn't been on in 20 months. So the way I operate is, I don't know how long you're gonna call me.
Right.
So I'm not one of these cats like, oh, let me do it this way.
So they'll call me back.
They're gonna call me back.
Right, yeah.
There's no guarantee you're gonna get called back.
Sure.
So my deal is, I'm gonna say this shit while I'm here. And I don't know when y'all call me back.
Right.
But guess what? If it's another 20 months, y'all gonna remember this shit.
Right.
It's like when you gonna remember this punch.
Right.
You gonna remember when I knocked this sumbitch out.
I'm Faraji Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation, you and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture, weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
There is a benefit to being in studio.
Oh!
You got to be there live.
But the deal is, I could take you apart, don't matter.
Right. Even on a Zoom. Right. They play games on the Zoom.
When I did Bill O'Reilly's show, the reason Bill O'Reilly's show was success, how he did it, because you would be in a studio, they would have no return video. You couldn't see them. See,
you were in a separate, isolated studio.
Yeah, like if you were
so it was you and a camera.
That's how Nightline was started. The beauty of Nightline was, guests they were in the building.
Right.
They purposely said, no, we're gonna put Ted, we're gonna put the guests in a flash studio to create the split screen.
Why?
Nightline because that creates, for the viewing public, it's a clear line demarcation. So it's them.
Versus. That's the versus.
Nightline. That's how they created it. They were in the building.
Right.
Had a flash studio. So I was in another city. Riley was there. See, what happens is, if that monitor right there is underneath that camera, so when I'm talking, I'm seeing his body language.
Sure.
I'm seeing his facial expressions.
Right. You know where to go.
I can do all of that.
Right.
But see, for y'all haters, when you're a Hall of Famer, I don't need the monitor. All I had was ear.
Right.
So all I can do is hear Bill, but I'm listening to him and I'm visualizing his facial expression.
Right.
I'm visualizing.
He can see you though.
Oh, he can see me.
So he had an advantage.
He sees everything.
He has a clear
advantage. He thought he had an advantage.
Right.
That was always his advantage.
Sure.
But here's the other advantage they would do. When you do television, you do a thing called the pre-interview. When the producer calls you,
Right.
asks you all these questions.
So they know where you're gonna go on each topic.
That's if you dumb.
Right. If you tell them.
So they would call me for the pre-interview.
Right.
I would just throw some stuff out.
Right. Little thing over here,
I may
little-
throw one thing.
Right.
I'll be all over here, whatever.
Sure.
I'll try to avoid the phone call, fine, if I have to do whatever. But when we go on, what they do is they type the pre-interview up.
Right.
When I filled in for 2 months on Camera Brown, they would come to me. I was like, I don't need that. And like,
Right.
what do you mean? I said, I don't want pre-interviews.
Right.
I said I want the conversation to happen.
Right.
I don't want to know what the hell
They're gonna
they're
say beforehand.
Dude,
Their scripted
they-
answer to
dude,
everything.
They literally give you the whole outline of the conversation.
Right.
So I knew that. I would just throw some other stuff.
Right.
And so when we go on, he comes out with a deal. Boom! I hit his ass with an answer. He ain't expecting that because he ain't read it.
Right.
And so the 4 or 5 times, maybe it was 6. I did 60 Bill O'Reilly show. Never raised his voice. Never acted a fool, got indignant.
Right.
I'm telling you, I think I remember one time I came on, they had this Jimmy Israel on with 2 of us. Jimmy was like, shit. Jimmy wrote something like, Roland O'Reilly, act like they best friends. Cause you come on, Roland, how you doing? Bill, how's it going? Cause it was like,
He's joking and laughing with you.
cause he was like,
Right.
I'm gonna leave this one alone.
Right.
Him different.
That one ain't the one.
This ain't the one.
Right, that ain't
There's a
the
reason
one.
Fox dudes don't call me.
Right. Right.
Fox will call cats who I put on my show.
Right.
They like, no.
They ain't messing
like,
with you.
No, we ain't call. Dog, they like won't even.
That's interesting.
Dude,
man.
no. But see, that's weakness.
Right.
See, weakness to me is when you're afraid to go up against somebody strong.
Right. You would think that you would piss off their audience enough to give them those kind of ratings that they want.
Right. But here's what they're afraid of. The way Fox News was constructed, Roger Ailes constructed it where his person always wins.
Got you. That makes sense.
The problem is,
Yeah.
what they really is scared of, they're scared I'm going to flip their audience.
Right. Ooh. Okay.
That's what they're scared
Right.
about. That's just straight up.
Right.
Like, I mean,
Right.
I've had,
You stand a much higher chance at changing their minds
because
than the average
they-
Joe Blow that gets on there.
Because
Right.
cats go on ready to joust.
Right.
I'm like, let's see.
Right.
I might be an intellectual. I might drop knowledge. I might come in hot.
I might appeal to
come
their
in
Christianity.
here.
I might appeal to their
dude,
humanity.
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
They don't know what.
Right.
That's the thing, man, that I try to explain to people. When I was on CNN.
Right.
They would sit here and they would have these conservatives on, these evangelicals, because they were used to progressives and liberals who were not believers in Jesus Christ. Or if they were, it wasn't strong. And so I remember, man, I was on CNN, and it was me and Tony Perkins, and it was when Obama was at Rick Warren's church, and they had this, and it was Warren, it was Obama and McCain both sat with Rick Warren, and we televised it. And Rick, and this was like after the Jeremiah Wright stuff, and so Tony Perkins, you know, used to be a pastor, big time white conservative evangelical. He starts talking about, you know, he starts going, Jeremiah Wright, blah, blah, blah. This is not what a pastor does. I said, I'm sorry, first and foremost, what you're articulating is wrong. The first and primary responsibility of a pastor, I said, is to, get new disciples, to bring people to Jesus Christ. So I start breaking down the role of a pastor.
Right.
I said, now, Tony, do you want to have a theological conversation?
He didn't want that.
I said, I'm more than happy to have a theological conversation about the role and the responsibility of a preacher and a pastor and what their duties are. Because I said, we know what the Great Commission was all about. I said, what Jesus said, go out and make disciples. Let me know when you're ready to have that conversation.
Yeah, they ain't want that.
Dog, they were like,
They don't want that.
so they ain't used.
Yeah, they don't want that.
See, it's like,
Yeah.
hold up.
Yeah, because this don't got nothing to do with race.
No.
This don't got nothing to do with
And see,
political
Here's
affiliation.
the deal. Oh, I'm going to fight on your battlefield.
Right.
See, I ain't, you
Right.
gotta come
Yeah,
outside.
I'll come to you. I'm
I'm gonna come sit on your side.
Right.
I'm gonna on your side of the stadium.
Right.
Now, you ready to go? So I've done that, and that's what I'm saying. That's where I try to tell people, you gotta understand. It's no different than what you do. It's no
Yeah.
different than when you talk about how do you study to be a great actor? How do you study to be great at anything? It's your craft.
Right.
And it's sitting down and just like athletes, you're watching video, you're watching game, you're watching movement, you're watching how you use your hands, you're watching your shoulder. You're literally watching how you emphasize with your hands.
Right.
How do you sit here when you're talking and you lean down and you do something along those lines?
And add that punch, add that emphasis.
See,
Yeah.
all of that. It's the art of when Chris Christie was talking, and I would go,
Right, that's it.
knowing full well, camera's on.
Right.
So I ain't saying a word.
Right.
My face expression like, that's some bullshit.
Right, like you must be crazy.
See,
right. Ain't nowhere in the world.
And that's
right.
understanding all of that. That's why I tell cats, you can't come on here and play with this.
That's it.
You can't come on and play with
That's
this.
it.
Because somebody is watching,
Yep.
and they're sitting there going, what are they saying? Are they going to bring it?
Right.
And that's the piece, man. And so when you bring that to bear,
Right.
and all of a sudden they're like, okay, we don't know what he going to hit us with.
Right.
They like, nah, don't. That's why Laura Ingraham,
Nothing.
Sean Hannity,
Nothing.
Tucker Carlson. I've had people, black conservatives have gone to Sean Hannity and said, you should put Rolling On. Oh, I ain't messing with that.
I believe it.
When Neil Bortz had a radio show in Atlanta, somebody texted me like, Neil Bortz going in on you. Tweeted his ass. Called his show. I said, when you want to go? So I'm coming to Atlanta. I said, you know what? I'm supposed to leave on Sunday. I will stay on Monday and spend overnight for a hotel room.
And do your show.
I said, I'll come into your studio. What your ass want to do?
They want it.
Hell no. He like, oh, hell no, he ain't, no. And that's what I said, oh, so you gonna talk shit about me.
Right.
But you afraid to sit across from me.
Right.
That's why they're scared.
Right.
They're like, no, we don't want no part of him. And to me, that's weak.
Well, it was definitely a necessary voice that we needed for the last 4 years. We needed that.
But they were scared of it because
We
I'm telling
needed
you. I mean, I had an executive say, Roland's to a friend of mine, Roland's like a strong cup of black coffee. You know, not everybody can handle it. I said, well, see that right there? That tell me you're a weak executive. Mm-hmm. You a weak executive. You a weak cable news executive. You said that bullshit. Because your job, that's like a trainer saying, nah, he punched too hard.
Right.
I'm sorry, are you trying to win the title?
Exactly.
Or are you just trying to pick up some easy fights?
Yeah, that's
and
it.
get paid.
That's it.
What is it?
Yeah.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shooting.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear. But the thing that I try to tell folk, older or younger, that's why I say you got to understand. I say you have appreciation for the craft. That's why I love talking to folks in various fields because I want to know what they do, how they do, what's their process, what do they go through, how do they deal with that? Because that speaks to, again, the craft. When you talk to a rapper and they take you through, and it's the breakdown
creative
of
process,
the creative process. Because it's very easy to watch the end result, but it's that process.
Yeah, we have our own creative process too as actors. You know, I mean, it doesn't start on set.
Right.
You know, it starts when you get that script and you start creating that character at that moment. You know, when you start having conversations, at least this is how I do it.
Right.
You know, conversations with the director, or if it's in the television format where the writer is actually king, then having conversations with that writer. And
are you grilling them like
oh, absolutely.
You trying to drill as deep as possible?
My main thing is always, I am on screen and I am representing what a black man is to the entire world that's gonna see this. And this might be the only black man, a representation of a black man that they see.
Right.
So I am responsible.
Right.
For how they see black men. And it's my responsibility to, if I am not playing an upstanding, honorable, someone with a strong principle or moral core, to make sure that this character is so specific.
Right.
That it is him, not black men.
Right.
That are this way. And I wish that more actors would realize how important their position is as an actor of color, playing people of color on screen. Because there are people that see us all over the world in these different images that we portray. And not everyone knows black people to know.
Yes.
That's not all.
See, what you're describing right now literally is the exact same thing for me on cable news. Because when I was on CNN, it's seen 200 countries around the world.
Right.
So I needed people to see the fullness of a black man.
100%.
I needed them. So if I'm sitting here and I'm dropping Dietrich Bonhoeffer, the German theologian who studied at Abyssinian Baptist Church in Harlem, I want them to go, well, did he just drop the German theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer and his teachings on cheap grace? I want them to go, hold on, what did he just say? When the other white commentators are working in Rolling Stone songs, I said, let's talk about Frankie Beverly Mays' Joy and Pain.
Right. Right.
They were like, who the hell? I'm like, I ain't talking to you.
Right.
So it's introducing something new, but who you representing. Yep. And that's the thing, man, that's why I'm telling you, bro, I tell people, don't play with this.
No.
You don't know how you're touching, how you're impacting somebody, how you can change somebody.
It's almost offensive when I see an actor that doesn't take it seriously.
It is offensive.
When all they do is
pisses me off.
Memorize lines and regurgitate it. You can tell who's done the work, and you can tell who hasn't.
Right.
And they're basically wasting an opportunity and misrepresenting us as a culture and as a people by not doing that work and challenging writers and challenging directors and holding them accountable for how this character is portrayed. And okay, this character is doing this, why? This is gratuitous. He doesn't need to do that.
Right.
Well, how does this push the story forward?
Right.
Or does it just depict a violent black man? If it doesn't push the story forward, or it doesn't somehow connect to something else that makes up his DNA, we don't need that. So you challenge them to defend it.
Yes.
And it's not an adversarial conversation.
No, it's just.
But it's an intellectual one. And
right.
And usually what happens is they appreciate you for it, because they most of them, they don't mean any malintent.
Right.
They just wrote it, you know, and they were focusing on another character.
Right.
And you're like, well, you know what? You may have been focusing on these one or two characters, but now that I'm involved, we got to focus on this one.
But it also exposes, it's all been written through their prism.
Yes.
And it's like, yo, that's not your lived experience. That's not your learned experience.
I'll tell you, but this show that I'm on right now, The Boys, and I'm not selling, but as an artist and as an actor, is probably the most fruitful experience, because I have worked hand in hand with the creator of the show in developing this character, in developing his relationship with his daughter, in scenes that I really can't talk about right now because it's from season 3, but scenes that have no lines in them, but they are what a black man who is raising a black daughter, things that have to do with hair, things that have to do with you know, their inability to know that much about each other because of the difference in, male, female, her age as she's growing. But there are conversations that we addressed that were very important to me to display because black fathers, especially black girl dads, I don't believe get enough credit.
Oh, no, not at all.
I don't believe we get enough
don't
credit.
at all.
And
well, first of all, Dr. Whitfield and I talked about this here. And the problem also is you just have this whole notion that all dads suck.
Right.
All dads can't do shit. All of them are bumbling idiots. They can't fix anything.
But black fathers in particular.
Right, absolutely. But it's this whole idea, we talk about manhood, like the whole idea of you watch the commercials and dad can't quiet the kids.
Right.
Or the kids are out of control and he come in, where's your mama? Your punk ass handle that.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, I know my dad handle it. He ain't asking my mama.
Right.
And so all of that, and so it's like, it's what you bring. And it's also getting people to understand that, no, why this is important, because people remember it.
Absolutely.
They remember it.
And we're breaking stereotypes that were not created by us.
That's it. That's it.
If they were accurate, that's one thing, but they're not accurate.
That's it.
And they're exploitive.
And you're changing it.
Yes.
I had a sister, we worked at CNN together, and she was trying to get me to change my clothes. I was like, hell no. I said, I was raised clean. We dress clean.
Right.
Now, I said, I'm not going on the air with a blue suit and that ugly ass Brooks Brothers tie.
Right.
I said, that basic ass stripe. I said, that ain't me.
Right. It's a uniform.
I said, no. I said, my shit gonna have a pattern. It's gonna have some color.
Right.
I said, we're gonna rock the different pocket squares.
Right.
So my deal is, so what happened was she went on maternity leave. She adopted the kid. And so she was watching. She came back and she said, I know what your ass doing. And she said, damn, that shit's brilliant. I was like, what? She said, I've been trying to get you to change your look, essentially that uniform. She said, you completely stand out. She said, you're not just one of the few black faces. She says, you completely stand out. She said, when they go to that wide shot, she said,
you pop.
It is undeniable there's rolling.
Right.
I said, now you got it.
And
I wanted me to blend in.
Yeah, I remember back then, man, you put us on the pocket squares. That you were one of the first pocket square pioneers,
them all the time.
Yeah, you were part of the pocket square movement.
And they literally said, what are you doing? I was like, man, I'm not going on no damn TV. I said, with a blank pocket.
Yeah.
I said, no.
I remember back then, the movement the way it started was pocket squares and socks.
Uh-huh.
That's when all the funky socks started coming out. You could be in a nice suit, and then boom, when you rock the socks, you got the crazy patterns and colors, and they didn't have to match.
Right.
And then the pocket squares.
See, for me, it was the tie, the pocket square, the cufflinks.
Right.
Because see, what happened, it's like you saw what I just did there?
It was the desk, right? It was right here.
So what happens is, you'll be talking, and so I showed somebody, it was like, well, yeah, but you don't see him. I said, let me show you the move.
Right there. I see him right there.
That's the move.
Yeah.
The move. Let me explain.
Hold on a second.
So all of a sudden, they see that watch.
Boom.
They see them cufflinks.
Yeah, done
and
deal.
they sitting like, his ass different.
Yeah, he's different.
I said, and she said, now I see it. I said, now you get it.
Right.
I said, you wanted me to blend in.
Right.
I said, I wanted to stand out.
Yeah, we don't do nothing blended. We don't blend in.
And that was the thing that I said, so now I'm standing out with my look. I'm standing out with my skin tone.
Right.
Then I'm standing out with my mind.
Intellect. Boom, done deal. Game over. They don't like that.
No, they don't
like it.
They
don't like it.
I had one exec told me, man, because when I launched the line of ties, ascots, and bow ties and pocket square, he goes, now if you were full-time here, you couldn't be doing all these things. And I said, and that's why I never be full-time here. Because my whole deal is you're not going to control. First of all, my grandmother was an entrepreneur.
Right.
My mom was an entrepreneur. My grandfather was an entrepreneur. My aunt was an entrepreneur. I said, it's all in my family. You're not going to tell me I can't own a company.
And what the hell does he care anyway? How's it affecting him?
Who cares if I own, if I have a line of ties?
It's none of his business.
Ties.
It's none of his business.
I'm wearing ties anyway.
Right, period.
How are you telling me I can't own a company and wear my shit on the air?
Period.
But it was like this, but see, that's where the control comes in.
Yep.
And that's the piece. It is the control. It's who controls the story, who controls the narrative, but more importantly, it was also who controls my money.
Right.
And that was the thing, bro. I had executives, doc. I'm telling you, when I was at CNN, it was a trip 6 years.
Wow.
Because a lot of them could not handle the fact that I had 5 lines of revenue.
Would you go back?
It all depends on what I'm doing.
Got you.
I will not go somewhere where I cannot, at a minimum, co-own the content.
Got you.
And I have to have complete creative control. I'm just not interested in sitting with somebody who doesn't look like me, who is trying to define for me my culture.
Right.
No.
Right. You've experienced freedom, creative freedom.
Actually, this is gonna trip you out. I've had it my entire career. I was 20, and I said the 2 most important things to me are freedom and flexibility. I was saying then, if you said, Ro, we're gonna pay you $100,000, and this is what you're gonna do, and then we're gonna pay you 50, and then you have freedom, I was gonna take 50.
Take the 50.
Because there's nothing worse to me than a box.
Right.
There's nothing worse than having a skill set you can't do all that you do. There's
Right.
nothing. That I always tell you, after 2 months you used to the new money. You get a raise. And people say, you say that when you have money. I'm like, no, you get actually used to it. I said, but I would be frustrated. Look, when they canceled News One now, TV One offered me a 3-year contract. They said, we're going to keep your salary the same, $330,000. My agent was like, rolling easy money. I said, nope. I said, because they have no plan. He's like, rolling, is it easy money? I said, no, there's no plan.
Right. They're still figuring it out.
I need to know what I'm doing.
Right.
I said, the money is not what's important. I said, no, what am I doing? What am I doing? And I walked away.
That's when you started your own platform.
I knew, well, in fact, when I was talking with Alfred Liggins in his office and he told me the end of the show, seriously, there was no movement. There was no gut punch.
Did you see it coming?
Actually, I called it when we started. When we started the show, I told them, I said, this show's budget cannot exceed $3.5 million. I said, if you exceed $3.5 million, you're putting yourself in the danger zone. When we hit the 4, I said, I'm trying to tell y'all. I said, you are putting yourself in the danger zone if you exceed $4 million. I said, you are setting this show up to be cut.
Right.
I said, because the nut is too big.
Right. I
said, I'm telling you, you don't do it. Then we went up to 4.2. I said, I'm telling y'all.
What was driving up?
It was because they were not hiring multi-skill set people.
Okay.
I kept telling them that.
Okay, so they had to hire more people.
I said, don't hire somebody who can only produce.
Right.
I need to be able to produce, shoot. I said, they can be multi-skill set.
Sure.
Everybody on my team can do play multiple positions.
Right.
I said, because the industry is changing.
Right.
And I said, if you do that, I said, you're putting yourself in a position to get cut. So I knew what was happening. And I kept telling them, I said, I'm telling y'all what's about to happen. I said, I'm telling y'all this is what's going on. And so then when it happened, literally, bruh, he's talking to me. While he's talking, I'm taking notes. Like, literally, he's talking. I'm like, I'm going to walk out of this room and call this person. We're going to do this here. We're going to expand the Facebook page. We're going to do this here. We're going to blow the website out. I'm going to buy these cameras here. This is what we're going to do. This is what this is going to cost. How much money I'm going to set aside. We're going to do all this while he's talking.
Right. You were building Roland Martin Unfiltered.
While he's talking.
Right.
I'm sitting with the exec. We go to her office. She is in a state of shock. She's like, you're not shocked? I said, I'm literally sitting there, and this is me. I'm looking at the wall. She's like, you okay? I said, no, I'm fine. She's like, are you shocked? I said, no. She said, what are you doing? I said, planning. This is like literally 10 minutes after walking out of the office. I was already there.
Sure.
I felt bad for the staff when people were out of jobs.
Right.
We were in the meeting, telling the staff I was already there. I was already there because I'd already started this, buying my own equipment. I purchased my own switcher, my own cameras, my own lights, because my deal all my entire career was I do not want to be in a position to where if I have to make a move, I'm without gear.
Got you.
I want to be able to have something where I can do it myself if I'm in between something.
You know what else you did that I tell every actor that moves to the city or wants to move to the city? I tell them, this is going to be tough. It's going to be a very, very lean lifestyle.
Boom.
But
come on,
spend 25 cents for every dollar you make.
There you go.
You need to stash 75 cents. If you can make it on 25 cents for every dollar you make, you're going to survive the lean periods.
Yeah.
And what happened was you were in a position where when they did make that cut, you could buy lights and you could buy cameras and you could buy equipment.
Actually, no. I bought it while I was there.
While you were there.
So when it ended.
So while other folks are buying cars and spending money on lavish stuff.
I spent more than $150,000 on gear.
Right.
In fact,
you were ready.
In fact, TV One didn't even. We were the only first internal show. They didn't even have cameras or anything for our show. So we would always hire a production company. Henry's over there switching. We hire Henry's company. He would hire the crews and whatever. So then I was kind of like, okay, all right, we hiring all these crews. I'm gonna buy my own camera because a lot of times we couldn't. It was something small.
Sure.
They were like, no, we're not paying for that. I was like, okay, no problem.
You could lease it to them.
No. I had my own equipment.
Right.
I said, I ain't gonna charge y'all. But whatever is shot with my equipment, we co-own.
Oh wow, that's it. You really went there. I thought you were leasing them the equipment.
No.
Oh yeah, you were talking equity.
I want the content.
Wow.
I want the
Oh,
content.
you play chess, Roland. You play chess.
My deal was
you taking a table. You taking a table when you negotiate.
That is what's rich.
Okay.
It's the content.
Right.
It was a deal I deal with.
And see, back then, man, I just wish I knew. I wish I knew this back then. Like, a lot of us didn't know how much value there was in content.
Yes.
Now it's content and data.
Yes, yeah.
But back then, it was content.
All of that. So people sit here. So when I worked at places, I always had my own equipment gear. No, you do not own the photos. I bought this camera. I'm shooting. You can use it. I have the photos.
Right.
I have the video.
Right.
So when I started this, I had a whole library already. So then when I start this, I built the library. So when I launched Black Star Network, I'm starting with 500 plus hours of video content. And then when you talk about how do you understand the dynamics, people are like, dog, why you buy all your own equipment? I said, easy. Because, and again, it's just understanding the business of the business. I said, look, if I go to LA and I hire 4 people and I hire crew plus gear and it's $1,500 a day, I said, that's $6,000 a day. If I go and shoot for 5 days, I paid $30,000.
Easy.
I said, but the problem is if I do that 3 times, I would spend $90,000 on gear and staff. I said, but the problem is I can't do anything else with that. I said, but if I spend $130,000 on gear, when I come in, I can pay crew for labor.
Sure.
I said, now I can shoot 30 times in the year.
Right.
We will shoot here or elsewhere.
Wherever you
and
go.
I'm building content. So that's why we come here, we rent an Airbnb, we live here,
Yep.
we eat here, set everything up in here. We do 3 to 5 interviews a day. So I can come here, spend $25,000 in a week, and walk away with 20 to 25 1-hour specials.
Bro, it's brilliant. Brilliant.
That I now can re-air because I own it multiple times.
You know, I just interviewed you, right? Y'all see this, right? I just interviewed Roland Martin. This was a special on you. Come on, baby. But I love it though. This is inspiration. It inspires me. It inspires me, like as a creator and as a creative. It inspires me to see people in other areas creating their own and owning their own intellectual property.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, for our people, That's the milestone that I feel like we've now started to embark on.
Yes.
We start seeing show creators, showrunners, black women showrunners, black writers, black directors who are actually writing and producing their own stuff. This is stuff that we talked about, but it's actually happening right now. And it took us this long to get here. But we're here.
I'm Faraji Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture. Weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
I talked to Damaris Lewis, who worked with Prince, and I read a bunch of Prince interviews, studied him, met him a couple of times. I hate that we never had this conversation.
Right.
But other people have said to me that, oh my God, Prince loved you. He always talked about it. Van Jones, like, I swore he said y'all were buddies because he always talked about you. We never, only met him twice. But I spend time studying people who are in other industries. I'm like, okay, how did they do that? So when he was talking about Own Your Own Masters, when he went in, when he sued Warner Brothers, and then he saw the whole deal where he was paying for this and this and this, he's like, well, look, y'all flying to come see me, and I'm paying for your airfare and your 5-star hotel. That's why it's Understanding 360. This is crazy.
Can you imagine Prince if he were here now, what he would be doing?
Well, everybody forget.
Not needing a label. He wouldn't have needed a label.
But he didn't before he died.
He didn't need it, yeah.
He was in distribution.
Right.
Everybody forgot. Prince was doing downloaded music before iTunes existed.
Wow.
Dude, when he had downloaded music on his website before iTunes existed. Dude, way ahead of the game. But that's what I'm talking about. And what I try to tell brothers and sisters, when I say study the craft,
right.
Study the business of the business.
Yes.
Okay, well, how can I apply what he did in music to what I'm doing?
Right.
How can I apply what this person in engineering is doing to what I'm doing? It's understanding that, and that's why when you talked about when I was buying equipment, not buying a car, like the only car I've ever wanted in my life is a Dodge Viper. I'm not a car person, but the only one I've said that I've desired.
Sure.
But I also told myself I will only buy a Dodge Viper if I make, if I clear $1 million a year in 3 consecutive years. Because one, I ain't financed. I'm paying in cash.
Right.
Not gonna do it.
You don't want to deal with that.
Not dealing with it.
Yeah.
So that's what. All this, I ain't leasing. I'm not. No.
Right.
Buying outright. So, but my whole deal is I'm perfectly fine if I never actually get it.
Sure.
Because I'm doing this over here.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, man. I spend a lot of time studying other people and how these things were constructed and how they were built. And now I'm sitting there like, okay, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this. So when I'm talking to people about distribution and then with content and different platforms, like, okay, this here, because that's what it's all about. Because we are also taught to sell our stuff. We're taught, write a script, sell it. Music, sign a deal, give it away.
Yep.
Versus what you just said, hold up. So if you offer me this, and I'm gonna take less.
Right.
I'm gonna live off of this here, but I can now take that thing and I can sit here. Matty Rich sat there and he said, dude, he said, I own Straight Outta Brooklyn. He said, I am still, he said, those residuals come in. He said, because I own it. But you have to be willing to be content and say, I'm gonna forego the 20,000 square foot house.
Yep.
Because I'm cool with the 10.
Right.
Because I own it, because I have my freedom.
Yep.
And that, dude, you can't pay me for freedom.
And freedom is what will keep your artistic integrity alive too. A lot of people that have done stuff that they are not proud of what they had to do, they did it because they had to, not because they wanted to.
Yep. And I'm like, now we good.
And that's why I always tell actors, like, live lean. Live lean, because when the dry period comes, and it comes for everybody's career, you have ebbs and flows. When you have a flow, You ride that thing to the hilt. You ride it to the hilt. But you got to also stash and get ready for the ebbs, because when things get lean, you don't want to have to do something that you're not going to be proud of.
Yep. I'm going to add one to it. We're going to close this. I'm going to add one to it that you can give them this. Not just live lean. Think lean. What I mean by that is redefine your personal validation.
That's really what it is.
See,
that's the core. Right. That's the core.
See, if your thing is, I gotta have this big house.
Right.
That's gonna drive you.
Yep.
This, when I moved to Chicago, my CFO said, "You selling your house in Dallas?" No. I said, "No." She's like, "Why?" I said, "I talk too much shit on TV to ever be homeless."
Right.
I said, "I own it."
Right. That's yours.
I said, "Whatever happens,
Yep.
I own it."
Yep.
My dad, my parents, and my sister and her too. The 3 generations of Martins live in my house right now.
Right.
For free.
Right.
I said,
you don't have to worry about that.
No.
Right.
I said, but whatever happens, I already own a home.
Right.
I said, let me be real clear. I could easily go live in a 2,500 square foot house.
Right.
So again, my validation is not, I have a 10,000, 20,000 square foot house.
Right.
I could easily do that.
Right.
Because how I view it, when I bought the Sprinter last year, that was the first, it hit me a month later, I said, this is the first Mercedes I've ever owned. But here was the difference. The Mercedes that I bought was 100% tax write-off.
Right. Yep, over 6,000 pounds, you can write it 100. I know the deal.
See,
yep.
but the thing is, it's the validation piece.
Right.
So I've never owned a pair of Air Jordans.
Right.
And if I did, it was given to me.
Right.
I got a pair of Air Jordan golf shoes that was given to me in the golf tournament.
Right.
I ain't buy that.
Those are nice.
Because the validation,
right.
So for me, that never drove me.
Right.
And so when you're there, now your decision making is totally different.
Totally different.
Because your validation is not
100%.
that whole piece.
And traditionally, we as a people love to shine.
There you go.
And it doesn't mean don't shine. It just means check off these other boxes before you decide to shine, so that you can shine forever, not just for now.
Or shine in a different way, in that somebody can sit across me and they wearing Versace all day.
Right.
I can completely outshine them in these pink socks, these blue linen pants, and this shirt, and the shoes, and the whole combo didn't cost me $100.
Oh, easy. But
again,
right. it's a different validation.
There you go. Yeah. You have that changes it. And
those things aren't making you.
Nope.
You make them.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Just like you wear them dashikis. They don't wear you.
You know it. On the ass, Scott.
Hey man, I gotta make sure people know during COVID, we had a 2-hour conversation about African clothing and textiles. You hit me to the whole game, man. You broke it down. Send me different examples.
Oh,
this is this is that. This is called this is called that. So the buttons on this one go down this far, but this one goes down to my ankles.
That's right.
Yeah, bro. We had some
just different looks.
Yeah,
just
and then you'd get on the turntables and start spinning on Instagram, bro.
Come on now.
It was you were multitasking.
I don't want anybody to say he's predictable.
Nah. We had a good one, man. There were a lot of days that you kept my mind from going nuts during lockdowns, man.
I appreciate it, baby.
That's friendship. That's friendship.
Always good seeing you.
Yeah, likewise.
Laz.
Love you, brother.
Appreciate it, baby. Love you.
Keep doing well.
You know it.
And next time I interview you, we'll talk about something else.
Yeah, I talk more in this interview than all the rest of them.
Thank you so much for joining Laz Alonso
on Rolling with Rollin'.
On Rollins Roll.
Yeah, Laz Alonso on Rolling with Rollin' on the Blackstar Network.
You know this was what I did before when I was on BET.
I can tell.
You remember that?
I can tell.
Bro, come on, man.
You know how I ask questions.
I can still get down.